Hey folks, welcome to Economic Observations. My name is Chris. Today is the 25th of September, and thank you so much for watching. We have a lot to talk about today, but before we get started, this video is sponsored by the Tanzania School Foundation, a nonprofit near and dear to my heart. The Tanzania School Foundation sells really beautiful, fine artwork from Tanzania, and if you are interested in learning more, there are links in the descriptions below. Let's get started. China yesterday has this really big crackdown on cryptocurrencies. They say it is illegal, all of it. They want to ban it. We know that they started this earlier in the summer, but now they are taking a firmer stance and they are saying no. In a CNBC article, there was an opinion piece that says that China was the first to do it, but it may not be the last. What do you think? Will the United States also ban a cryptocurrency? They refer to it similarly as the wildcat banking era. If you don't know what the wildcat banking era was, what in 1812 to 1836, I believe, was some remote banks started issuing their own currencies. It was different state by state. So Philadelphia had their own currency, Baltimore had their own, Michigan had their own, and they would issue these currencies, pumping up the value of them, and they were deemed worthless. Eventually, that led to the one currency system that we have today, and 50 years later, the creation of the Fed. Will other countries follow suit? Wait and see. Costco is starting to lease their own ships to go to Asia to bring back electronics, furniture, tablets, anything, toys that they may need for their shelves. Ikea and Walmart are doing the same thing. They are renting smaller vessels. Now, the reason why I say smaller vessels is we know there's a bottleneck outside of Los Angeles waiting for docking, right, to unload these ships. And these ships are massive, and not every port can accommodate these ships, right? So they only can be unloaded in the Los Angeles area. So we have a problem now waiting because of port space. But what some of these large companies are doing, and many small businesses don't have this option, is they're leasing smaller vessels and they're actually leasing their own containers. And those smaller vessels can go to Portland or Seattle or in other ports along the Pacific coast and be unloaded a lot quicker, and there's no log jam. I was at the port in Boston the other day and there was nothing going on. They just put up these gigantic cranes to be able to accommodate larger ships, and there were no ships there. So there are other ports around the country that have capacity, but they just don't have capacity for these large ships. So we'll see a lot of companies do that, but Walmart is committed to having their stores full this Christmas. On Walmart, too, I was talking to a commercial realtor the other day, and there's an IKEA in Massachusetts, and there's a former Staples retail space that's empty. There's a lot of retail space that's empty. And I was talking to him about, if anything, if there's any interest and the rent's coming down and has everyone paid their rents. And he said, actually, that Staples is leased. It's not a retail store. And right now, it is a warehouse for a Walmart that's not far away. And Walmart is using this old Staples space as a warehouse for Christmas things. He said that people come in all the time. They're putting bicycles together and stuff. So there's a lot of inventory being stored at this old retail space. And it's not getting to Walmart's shelves yet because Walmart doesn't want to put it out yet because they want it there for the Christmas season. So I don't think Walmart's going to have a problem, because if that's happening here, I imagine that's happening at Walmarts all across the country, right? And these big box warehouse stores, they don't have storage. And the guy told me they're paying a pretty penny to rent this retail space. as a warehouse. And it's heated and it's large and there's lots of room and it is filling up. So, interesting tidbit on that. Ikea is doing the same thing. They are leasing ships to go to United States and Canada. There are long, long delays currently in getting stuff there. But some large retailers are trying to figure it out, even though the cost is still astronomical. But they need to make sure that there are things on their shelves when they need them. So they're working around that. Interesting, too. I was watching a Frontline show, PBS, the other day. It was a 3-part series. I watched part 1 and 2 so far. And they were talking about how the workplace is changing. And I found this to be really interesting. So they talked to a hotel and a restaurant, and they restructured their employee. And how they did it is they have multitaskers now. So if you were to work in this restaurant, and I think the restaurant said they went from 100 employees down to 50. So they're doing away with 50 jobs. And what they did is they said, okay, we're going to hire you, we're going to train you, and you're going to do everything. So you're going to take the order, you're going to cook the meal, you're going to deliver the order, you're going to clean up after it, you're going to do everything. So the person who cooks the meal actually delivers the meal. The person who makes the drink actually delivers the drink. And you are fully acclimatized to the whole restaurant industry, right? So you're not hired as a waiter anymore. You're not hired as a bartender. You can do everything. And instead of paying these people like a minimal wage and then they rely on tips, is they're getting paid a salary. They are now full-time workers and with benefits, with 401k, with paid vacation time, and tips are distributed amongst the entire staff. Thought it was really interesting. And then they took us down to a hotel. I believe it was in Louisiana, New Orleans, and they're doing the same kind of thing. So somebody in the day would be cleaning rooms and making beds, and then in the afternoon they might be in the restaurant being a waiter or a busboy or a cook or working at the desk. It was kind of like a multitask situation, and the hotel said that those old jobs aren't coming back pre-pandemic, but these new jobs has a higher demand. It makes the job more diversified. The employees seem to like it, and yes, now they're employees. They're full-time paid employees. He said that the starting salary was $35,000. They all had benefits, vacation time, medical insurance, and the like. And they seem to think that it was working really well because people don't want to go back to the way things were. That's why there is a shortage of workers, because workers don't want to go back to the way things were. And the worker has changed, and so has the employees, the employers. I mean, the employers now want to do more with less, and it is working out really well for all of them. They have half the number of staff, but they have a much more qualified group of people who can fill in for one another and take turns in doing everything. Interesting. Love to know your thoughts on that. Do you see that that's the way of the future? I personally like having a multifaceted day. I do not like doing the same thing all the time. So I would thrive at a job like that. Whenever you learn a new trade, it's only beneficial to yourself. So I think it's really good. I'd love to know your opinion. Anyway, and also, do you think any other countries will follow suit and ban the crypto space? Interesting times, folks. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please hit like or subscribe to this channel. As always, I appreciate you. Call someone, tell them you love them. And remember, folks, be kind. We'll talk again real soon, and thank you so much for watching.